Hello and happy, beautiful day to you. For today's episode, I worked with a beautiful volunteer. His name is Don. And first and foremost, I just have to say, I love his energy. He just has this gentleman's energy, such an absolute sweetheart. And just even when he mentioned his wife, they just have he's just sweet, wonderful gentleman. So I love that. Now, the reason that he reached out is because he has been struggling with a few health issues. And so he's been having low back pain with a bulging disc. He's also had issues with hearing loss and also an issue with his eye that's been going on. And so ultimately, what I want to do today is share with you a key breakthrough insight from his session, because when I worked with him, he was able to shift and get rid of and release his low back pain. Now, this is what I always tell people is that it does take follow through. So if you have seen my work under medical equipment, where I show people how to use their own mind to release pain or create changes with their own health, you hear me say all of the time, like I'll show people how to make a radical shift, but it does take follow through to get real lasting results. And so please keep that in mind as we dive in. But the big insight that I want to share with you from his session is that he just has this feeling, as I mentioned, a gentleman, but also this feeling of always wanting to show up and help others and do for others. Even in his work, that's what he did. He would help others. He'd go see clients and help others. And he worked with livestock. And so, but helping clients, and he would show up and he would have, some people might book out 2 weeks, some people might book out and have an immediate response. And so he had this feeling kind of pulled in a lot of directions, if you will, and it kind of feeling a bit stressful. And so one of the things that I asked him is I said to him, well, how would it feel if everything was more organized in flow? How would that feel? And he said, freedom. Right? So his level of stress would go down if it felt more organized and in flow. And the thing of it is just because he's feeling pulled in a lot of directions. And I'm sure a lot of people have felt that exact way, just feeling pulled in a lot of directions. And so one of the issues, though, is that I had talked to him about also, getting more organized and maybe getting a calendar to help increase the organization. But the issue is that too felt like a challenge to get organized, to create that change. Now, if you stop and think about this from an emotional perspective for a moment, we know stress affects the physical body, if you will. But when we look at this, ultimately, there's that feeling of feeling stressed by current circumstances, and also a feeling of feeling stressed and not able to change circumstances, which can leave a person feeling stuck, like they can't get out of the feeling of stress, of that feeling of just feeling, the overwhelm, the feeling of being pulled in multiple directions, if you will, or always trying to show up. And again, he's such a sweetheart, such a gentleman that he wanted to show up. And that's the thing. He also wanted to. And the problem is it just created this feeling of overwhelm. And then not only that, but a feeling of feeling unable to really change it. So that's stuckness. And so that's the insight that I want to share. Now, there were multiple insights from his session when I worked with him. So if you want to listen to his actual session itself, you can do so. There's a link in the show notes. So you can actually listen to the live session when I worked with him. So you can listen to that. But the insight from this that I really wanted to share is just that so often people can feel stuck. They feel stuck between a rock and a hard place, so to speak, or feel stuck and there's not really a way out to create change. And I've seen people from all walks of life feel stuck in different ways. And so it's like the brain needs a different answer. It needs a shift, and a mental shift, an emotional shift, and even many times it might also need a practical shift, which was part of what we talked about with Dawn, was exactly that. But that's the insight that I wanted to share with you, because ultimately when I started working with him and in his energy and his mindset and said, okay, well, what is going on? That feeling of feeling stuck with all of, he had multiple health issues. And so that feeling of feeling stuck was just kind of keeping everything stuck. if you will. And so that's the insight that I want to share with you today, is that if you're feeling stuck in life, I want to just kind of bring to the awareness that so often people can feel stuck. And I felt stuck, by the way. During my own injury, I felt very stuck. I wasn't stuck. I had to really shift my mindset, because the more that we're willing to shift our mindset and create a change, what we're manifesting, what we're creating, what we're capable of changes. You know, it's like if somebody's stepping into their power and feeling strong and feeling confident, what they're capable of expands and grows. And so my point is just that if you're feeling that stuckness, you of course want to get unstuck, and that can be a big key for really healing. So that's the key insight that I want to share today. And of course, if you want to listen to the entire session, you can do so. The link is in the show notes. Or by the way, if you want to understand more about mind-body healing and how it works, there's also a link for a free training in the show notes as well. Or if you'd like to see my results under medical equipment in the medical journal, those are there as well. Because I know for a lot of people, hearing that somebody was able to use their own mind to release their pain can sound impossible. And so that is there as well. There's the link in the show notes. So that said, it has been such a pleasure connecting with you. And please do hit the share button on this episode. You know, share it with somebody you love, somebody you care about, or somebody you don't even know. Because the more that every single person feels healthy and happy and loved and loving, the better this world is for all of us. And so please do take a quick moment to hit the share button. And I look forward to connecting with you on the next episode. We'll see you there.